So, welcome athletics fans to another episode of the Trackster podcast. But this week we're doing something a little bit different. This is the first time that we're doing it on video for one, and secondly with someone in person. It's very exciting for us at Trackster, and we'll hopefully bring you more content like this to give you the highs, the lows, the ugly bits, and everything in between that running is all about. Now, we are off the back of the Boston Marathon, where there was a huge upset in the men's race, where Eliud Kipchoge slipped down to 6th position. And in a couple of days' time, we will be on the streets of London for obviously the biggest marathon of the calendar year, the London Marathon. And I'm buzzing to bring you a special guest today in the form of Australian half marathon and marathon record holder, Brett Robinson, where hopefully he will go one better than he did last time and maybe set a new personal best. But welcome to the show, Brett. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, mate, absolute pleasure. Like I said in the intro, it's been a long time coming that we've done content like this, and obviously me and you know each other already, so it's quite a nice little, nice easing into this type of content. And you're already a pro, mate.
At this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I a few little teething problems going on in the last hour, but I'm very familiar with that. For my podcast, we have problems every single week, so.
Yeah, mate, we actually touched it up on that. So for the listeners and the watchers, we've been in this room setting up, and there's been some teething issues that I'm not clued up on. Like, I don't really know.
You couldn't even find my room first.
Yeah, mate, we literally spent 10 minutes going up and down 13th and 14th floor. And I was saying to our video guy, George, I was like, we're going to look so sus on the cameras. We've got backpacks. We're not actually checked into this hotel. We're going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
But anyway, we made it. We made it. So I'm going to start with your story, similarly how we kind of start all of our guests. And I know it's really cliche, but I want to take it right back. Okay, I want to understand, how did you fall into sport? When did that start during your life, and how did that transition into athletics?
Yeah. Like I was always a sporty kid. Growing up in Australia, grew up in Canberra, which is the capital. People that don't know, a lot of people don't, but I played soccer, hockey, football, you call it, but cricket, a little bit of athletics, but not really. But kind of my true passion was soccer, and kind of did that, was going pretty well at that, and always had dreams of, like, I think as a kid, of playing over in England in the Premier League. But then I just kind of through school made cross-country teams, and then I had this teacher who was like just really kind of saw a bit of talent in me, and he actually like started taking me to races and helping me and give me a bit of training, and like I'll go train at lunchtime and stuff with him, and this is when I'm like 11 years old, and then didn't have a coach, and kind of made like the state team, went to nationals, and then there was a few years like 14, 15 where I was like, I actually think I like running more than soccer, so. Yeah. Kind of gave up soccer, and which was hard because a lot of my friends did soccer as well, and went away from them, and joined a running group, and just kind of from there like started making more teams and seeing like big improvements, kind of being in the top 5 in the Australian champs when I was like 16, 17, and just kind of continuing from there.
And you know, you've had a massive career that's had some serious longevity in it. I remember me just being a track and field fan and an athletics fan, like, I feel like you've been on the circuit for so long. Like, for those that don't know, Brett's not actually 40. He's still, he's still a young buck. Honestly, mate, you've been around for donkey's years, man. I remember when I lived out in Sydney, man, you were killing it then, and that was so long ago. And I just think that shows, obviously, massive credibility to your career. And when we look at your CV, I've got here in front of me that you've been in the green and gold of Australia. You've been in global meets at the 1,500 metres, the 3,000, the 5,000 metres, cross country and the marathon. Okay? And you've made the final on 4 of those 5 occasions and placed in the top 30 in 3 World Cross Country Championships, which massively highlights that you perform when it counts. When you look at your career overall, and we'll go into it a little bit, you know, in more depth shortly.
I've got goosebumps hearing that.
Oh, mate, that's it.
This is weird, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what, that'll change my question slightly. How does it feel hearing that? Because, mate, you've been so high up in your country for so long. Do you ever forget how good you are at this game?
Yeah, like a little bit. I think kind of then when you said like performing when it counts, I think that was something I've been able to do most of the time, and something I'm very proud of. Like, I haven't always run the fastest times, but when I turn up to a World Championships, like I've made the final and at the Olympics, where I'm kind of like, when you look at on the paper, you're like, oh, he's probably not going to make it, and then I have beat like people that have better PBs than me. So I think that's something I'm very proud of. World cross country. Bit disappointed that I this year finished 31st. I didn't get another top 30.
We'll claim it.
Yeah. Surely someone will get done for doping or something in the next few months. But that's definitely something I've been proud of. The Olympics was a disappointing one. Had problems in the marathon.
Yeah.
But I feel that's the only time where I've kind of turned up to a championship and gone away disappointed. So and it's such a tough sport, and like I have training partners that are turned up to world champs and Olympics before and never really been able to just put it together on the day. And so I've been so lucky that I have been able to.
One thing I find from doing these interviews is that I'll have a set list of questions and stuff I want to talk about, and then the guest will say something, and then I'm like, right, I'm going down that rabbit hole. And one thing I've just thought of you is that I remember in the early days when you were running for like New Balance, obviously now you're Nike, previously 1500s, 3Ks, 5Ks. I even saw a steeplechase PB on your computer too. And now obviously the marathon. In your career, how has athletics through your eyes changed over that time?
Yeah, well, definitely, obviously the shoes have made a big difference. And I think the way that, I don't know if it has to do with the shoes, but the way the races are run now, like everyone just wants to run fast.
Yeah.
Like you barely turn up to a race anymore. It's like a tactical race.
Everything,
it's like, all right, wait, let's just put it on the line and go crazy. I think Stu McSwain probably has a bit to do with that as well. Like
it's Stu's fault.
It probably is a little bit, because you see him turn up to a race and he's just like, I'm getting on the pace, and if you're going to beat me, you're going to run ridiculously quick.
Yeah.
And then I think that's trickled down into all other distances. So people are just like, all right, this is the new standard, and we have to go on and run fast if we want it. It's not as much about winning, and which I think as well, like that's when you get to World Championships and Olympics, it's a completely different results to what you're expecting. There's always people that are getting through that you don't expect, because they may not be the fastest person, but tactically they're better than the time trialers. That's one way I've found that it's changed a lot, and I think more people go into the marathon now as well.
Do you think because you stepped out of the marathon similar sort of time, Jack Raynor, your training partner, and Jack's a little bit younger than you, right?
Yeah, he's 4 years younger than me.
Do you think we're seeing quite a trend now where with the shoe technology and like looking after your legs a little bit more than it used to with the minimalist shoes, people are stepping up a little bit earlier now? You're a bit more traditional. You've done the track journey and then you kind of maximise that, and now you're stepping up. Put yourself starting your career now with all the shoe technology and what you know now. Do you think you'd have stepped up earlier?
No, I like the way I did it. Like I feel like I went at the right time. Like when I was say 25, I was like, I know I want to do a marathon soon, but I don't want to go until my body's like struggling. Like I want to go, my body's running its best, because if you're going to run 200k, 120 miles, your body has to be good. You can't be like breaking down doing the track stuff and then go, all right, now I'm going to go put under more stress and see if I handle it. The shoes are definitely helping with like bouncing back and being able to do all that training. Jack's gone a bit the other way, where he went to the marathon, now he's back on the track.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one thing that you can do maybe with the shoes. You can kind of go back a little bit, and I go back. Like I did race, like I ran a 5k and 10k on the track last year, which I think is always good for marathon. Mm-hmm. Like I have to, if I want to, like on Sunday I want to run 259 k's. Where if I just do marathon all the time and lose my speed and I can only run a 14-minute 5k, it's going to be hard to be doing
pretty much max.
Exactly, yeah. So I always want to be able to run like 13:20 or at least, and that's why I think I have kind of had some success in the marathons, because I had so many years in track, being good at track, understood like what it takes to run fast, and then I can kind of convert that into marathoning, which is like you see everyone like Kipchoge did it, like Mo Farah has done it. Yeah. Like a lot of they're good on the track, so and then they're good in the marathon.
And I like that you gave us the conversion of 200 k's a week there for our British audience.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate that.
I was speaking to Emil Caress last night, and I kept like talking in miles to him. He's like, "Do you usually talk in miles?" I'm like, "Nah." He goes, "I speak in k's." I'm like, "Oh, thank God."
It's like two languages, mate. As a running coach, you have to be bilingual. Everyone's different. So we've got to talk about Melbourne Track Club. Been a massive part of your life, but a big part of your development as well. MTC, the legendary stable headed up by Nick Bideau, and now obviously Collis, Birmingham. You've been with them best part of 10 years now. Talk us through that point in your life where you became a part of MTC and how that all happened?
Yeah, so I was living in Canberra, and I had a few good training partners, but they weren't like at the time I was 20, and I was like a full-time athlete. I wasn't really making money, but I was I was living at home, and I just treated myself as a full-time athlete. And then I had these training partners, but they all had jobs and were like working full-time. So we would train at like 6 p.m. in the evening. So I'd like just sit in my room all day waiting for training, and then there was good guys like Marty Dent, who went to the 2012 Olympics like for the marathon, and a few other decent runners. But I was really good mates with Ryan Gregson, who was a year older than me, but he had like broken the Australian record when he was 20 and like was running ridiculous. And then
Rockstar.
Yeah. So he lived about 2 hours away from me, and then he said, "Oh, I'm moving down to a place called Ballarat, which is an hour outside of Melbourne, to live with Collis Birmingham, who was like our top 5K, 10K guy at the time." And he said, "Do you want to come down and just like help me settle in, like just spend 2 weeks down there?" And I was like, "Yeah, sounds good. Like nice little training camp for me." And then like a few days later, he goes, "Oh, like we actually have a spare room if you want to. If you come down and you like it, like you're welcome to move down." And I was like, you know what? This is what I need to do for my running. I'm just moving down. Like didn't even go and try it. Just,
Big
like,
jump, man.
Packed my bags and just like moved down straight away. And so this time I was like a 13:40 runner, 28:45. And then it was 6 months later in 13:18, made World Champs final. Came 28th, I think, at World Cross. Like it was just like I had a huge like improvement curve.
Yeah, that's real quick.
Yeah, but it was just like I went from kind of thinking I knew what I was doing to living with two of the best Australia's runners,
showing you how to
and
do
then
it.
I just copied him. Like I literally was just like Collis Birmingham's shadow. I just followed him around. What he did, I did.
That's good to have those role models.
Yeah, definitely. Like they were so good. Like Ryan was the most professional athlete you'll ever meet. Like he did everything to a T. Like pretty like just narrow-minded. Where Collis was a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But like trained hard and like did all the right things. Because switch off, and I kind of like was drawn to that a little bit more. So yeah, just it's funny. I was like a mini Collis and just do whatever he did, I was doing, and
mini me.
Yeah, and it just worked. And I loved it. I was just so lucky to have that opportunity.
Yeah, well, I think one thing I've seen from watching MTC over the years is that there's always been solid role models.
Yeah.
Not always the fastest, but someone that's got the character. You know, Collis sort of handing down to Gregor handing down to you, and then you got like Stewie coming through, and then everyone else like Rainer and stuff. Over your time during the group, how has the group dynamic changed, if at all?
Yeah, it's definitely like we've had people come and go. We it's been huge at some points because we have internationals too. Like we have like a big Irish connection. We've had Americans in the group. So like Brits, we've got Charlotte Purdue at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's been coming and going but it's always been such a strong group, and Nick's like set up a good system where this is like what's expected. Having Collis and Gregor around was like such a key thing for the group, like in the early years, because it definitely set the standard of like this is how you do it. This is what's expected of training. This is how you rest in the day, and that was really good. I think when Collis retired, there was a bit of and then there's a few younger guys coming through. So there's like a few rough years where it was like probably went like away a little bit and just not being unprofessional, but it was just like we didn't really have that like strong leader like Collis. Like Collis would pull you in line where I was probably like the oldest person, but I wouldn't really, and probably a little bit of a leader, but I wouldn't really pull people in line. I'm not going to tell them off.
I see that.
Because I kind of came through with these guys as my mates, so then I found it hard to then
sort of be authoritative.
Yeah. So
I feel that.
I think we started to get a lot of success again. Having like Stewie running so good, it kind of just like pulled everyone back in line. We're just like, okay, like Stewie's like such a good example of this is how you be one of the best in the world. I want to be that as well. Like this is what it takes, and we just kind of all. It wasn't like this is what you gotta do. So everyone's like, all right, let's just lift this together, and it just became like a good environment to be around.
I remember in 2016 or 2017, I went to Falls Creek on a camp with my group in Sydney, and I'd never seen MTC in the flesh other than races and stuff. And I remember for the double run, we were waiting at the top of our accommodation for the group to come past, and there's like an unwritten rule that no one goes in front of MTC. And Fucking hell, mate. It was like an NFL team coming down like,
Yeah.
out of the tunnel. There's just this fucking pack of wolves on the front. And I was like, fuck me, these dudes are serious. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
But then like, I get to know the guys and it's like, they're chill as.
Yeah.
But when the job starts, it's like, it's serious.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one thing. It's like, yeah, we'll like joke around and out of training and like even in the warm-up muck around.
Yeah.
But it's like that 30 minutes, 40 minutes when the session's on, it's like, it's serious. It's like no joking around. Like, I remember like Clarkey once, I think farted at the end of a rep on Grego, and Grego like pretty much told him he should go back home. Like it was like not time for that.
You're out, mate.
Yeah. It's like I think there's a lot of respect if you come down and want to work hard and just do what it is. But yeah, if you want to muck around in the session or just like, I mean, not even, if you're just not even putting in the effort you should be, like,
Yeah.
I think people just be like, man, why are you here? Like, get out of here. It's
I mean,
just,
quarters up at Falls Creek's more competitive than national champs.
Oh, it is.
Fuck, mate. I remember the year I was there, you won it. And I'm saying he won it. It's a fucking training session. But, like, it's one of them that, like, it don't look great on Strava. No one hears about it. But up on the top of that mountain, it is just something different.
And, like, all day everyone's been like, oh, did you hear Brett ran 14:40 today?
Literally. Mate, it's like, it doesn't make Let's Run, but it's all over the mountain.
Yeah.
Do you hear what Brett did at Coors this morning?
And if someone came, like, from, like, America and did that session, they'd just be like, what is this session? Like, we're running on one of the worst trails ever.
It's horrendous.
And you're doing U-turns, like 400-meter reps on U-turns with holes.
It's ridiculous.
And, like, yeah.
Whoever thought that was a good idea,
I don't
but
know,
it clearly somehow works.
Yeah, it's just like, it's tradition, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like this tradition. What's your role within MTC now?
Yeah, like I feel, I'd say I'm a bit of a kind of a lead role in MTC. I'm one of the oldest, pro made most teams, I guess. And then I think I'm pretty good sounding board for guys like Stewie and Rayner, where I'm very good mates with them as well. They're two of my best mates, but I can kind of have that relationship where we're mates, but also when they need advice for running, and just someone to talk to, I'm always there for them. And for anyone in the group really. So I'd say a bit more of a leader role now.
And do you feel like, I mean, that's probably an obvious answer, but you know, when you first go into the group, that role wouldn't have been the same. But how has that changed for you over the years? Have you ever, sorry, I'm going to change the question. Have you ever felt a sense of responsibility to be a leader in the team?
A little bit. I think because I feel so lucky to have like Collis kind of take me as his like apprentice, I guess, through
his training apprentice.
Yeah, that I was just like when Stewie and Rayner were coming through, I'm like, I have to do the same thing. Like, and then Stewie's kind of done it a little bit to Rambo. And it is kind of like that little pathway. It's like, it's not, no one says to you, it's like, all right, this is your time to lead someone. But,
personalities gel and it's just how it transpires.
It is. And like Stewie, like I used to force him to come down to training, like in 2014, I think it was 2015. He was like running a little bit with me, like we'd go for jogs together, but he was in another group, but then he started doing, I'm like, man, I need a training partner, can you come and run with me? And he would like come and do sessions with me. And then it was like getting towards the end of the year, I'm like, Stewie, you need to join MTC properly. And like I like forced him to join. I said to him, mate, we're not allowed to run, if you don't join by like 31st of October, we're not allowed to run together anymore.
Amazing.
So 30th of October, he's like, all right, I joined.
Gets it in last minute.
I hope October has 31 days in that. I just said that.
Well, I'll check that off.
And then because I could see like there was definitely talent in him, so like I wanted to help him and give him the best opportunities he can. And same with Jack. So yeah. To
be fair, when we interviewed Stewie recently, he did actually credit you.
I hope he does.
He didn't say, "Oh yeah, that slapdick." He was useless. No, he actually did say, "No, Brett really helped me in my early years," because he did say I was dicking about a bit. So but you know, in a way, like you know, whether it's running in your work life, mentors are so important. And I've seen that from watching MTC over the years. I want to talk about bidders. Nick Bideau, obviously, he's legendary coach in Australia, but arguably the world. There was a time, I don't know what year it would have been, but there was a time when MTC was at its height, and I was going around saying like they are on par with the best group in the world. You know, like you guys and Bauman. I want to understand what your relationship is like with Nick, because problem with athletics, a lot of stuff behind closed doors. We don't see anything. This is the most we're getting to see of you. You know, so. What's Nick like as a person? How is he as a coach? Just give us an idea of what it's like.
Yeah, Nick, I'm great mates with him. Like, I think there's times when probably just saw him as a coach, but now I'm pretty close to him. Like we can just sit and talk, like not about training, just about anything. But he will pull me into line if I ever need to. But I feel like probably like years ago in my younger days, like that's when I needed to be pulled into line a bit more. Like where now he probably likes me more as a person because he doesn't have to pull me into the line because like I just know what I should be doing.
Low maintenance.
I'd say I'm a pretty low maintenance athlete. Like I don't need him to like I could do a week of training and like not even get feedback from him just because like if I message him he'll definitely, but like I don't need it either. Like where there's other athletes that like kind of need that back and forth and reassurance. But yeah, Nick has like just created this system in like within Australia, and it's like if you want to be good at 5k, 10k, half marathon, and now marathon, like it's only recently we've kind of started going more into the marathon. It's just it is like so impressive what he's done and been able to do for so long.
Yeah, we'll chat about Nick's marathon training shortly because that's one thing I'm really interested in as a bit of a running nerd. I know so much about Bideau's philosophy, sort of up to the 10k, but the marathon, it's less sort of reported on. I feel like there's less material out there, and the only way that I've sort of got insight into what his training's like and how he works is through yourself, Rainer, and Charlotte.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll chat about shortly. Obviously, we've got London on the weekend. We've got to talk about it, I guess. It's a little fun run around the streets. But last time out in October, 2:09 PB.
Yep.
And then 2 months later out in Japan, you break Rob de Castella's Australian record, taking 20 seconds off the mark with a 2:07.31. Yep. You've had a few cracks at the marathon. I know you've had your struggles with various issues and that. But the race in Japan where you finally break that record, what was different about that attempt? Did you do anything different, or did it just come right on the day?
So everything that went well at Fukuoka was to do with London. Like I learned so much in that in London Marathon that I could just transfer that straight into. Even though it was a quick turnaround, I just knew what to do. So if anyone doesn't know, like I had problems with stitches, I would just get this done every single like study and test and scan and change my diet. Done breathing exercises, mobility, like everything, and then literally it was the most frustrating thing because I would go into a marathon like I've done everything, thinking I'm prepared so well, and then I just would get to 25k again, spasm. So what I think it is, it's something to do with my breathing, because when I got to about 25k at London last year, I started to get this stitch, so I straight away was like, I don't know what to do. Like I slowed down a little bit. I'm like pushing, I'm like punching my stomach, like just
trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and like I don't really get it in sessions, so it's only when I go for like kind of 75 minutes that I like at a pretty hard effort is when I start to get it. Yeah, and and then I just kind of remember back to this like coach I had when I was like 13 or 14, and he like said just change your breathing pattern, and so I just started going like.
Double intake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then...
where did you learn that from?
So,
from the coach?
Yeah. So he just like told me to do this like double breath in and then breathe out.
Because I've heard that on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, but only recently.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah. So I hadn't heard of it anyway. No one had told me it like for 20 years nearly. And then I did that, and then I saw it after. Right. I saw someone say, I'm like, geez, I wish I had, like this had come out 2 years ago and I could have done that. And I would also, I get my stitch on my right side, so when I do that hard breath out, I would like time it with my left foot strike. And
you still do that now?
Not every time. As soon as I get the stitch, I do it.
Only when you get the stitch?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's mad.
Yeah, and then so I did it in London, and then I'm like, wow, this is like kind of working. So I'm like, okay. It was like go down, and then I'm like, all right, cool, back to, and then it would like come back up. So I'd do it again, it would work. I'm like, okay. And so I had like a bad like 6k at London, and then I was able to run the last 10k pretty good. And then I was going into, but before London, like it would literally, I would have dreams the nights before of getting the stitch. Like it was like playing in my mind that much. Like it was just like, and I was just like going into every marathon thinking, like all I want to do is just like run to my fitness. Like I would happily like wobble the last 2k because my fitness isn't there.
Yeah.
But every single one, I'm just like having to like jog at 25k just to kind of get rid of this pain.
That's no fun.
And it was just so frustrating. Like the Olympics was the most frustrating thing because I just got to like 23, 24k. The stitch came on. Didn't know what to do. Ran with it the rest of the way. I'm like at the Olympics representing Australia. I'm jogging, and it's just like I'm like, this is so stupid. Like I just like I'm like, oh, maybe I should stop with the marathon, like because it's just And then but Nick was like, no, like we've got to figure this out. Like we tried everything, and then so going into Fukuoka, I was like, all right. I remember like writing in my notes, like I kind of like write a bit of a race plan. I'm like, I'm going to get the stitch. When I do, just do this.
Okay.
And then so I knew going into it, it's just like I have a plan, and this is what I'm going to do. So yeah, got to like kind of 25k again. The stitch started coming on, and then I just started doing that, and it just went away. And I was like, I maybe lost a little bit of time while I was doing that breathing, because like I'm doing the breathing, it's like I'm kind of like not really concentrating on keeping the pace. I'm just kind of, and also like you don't want to be like pushing like on the edge when you do have a stitch, just in case it's like you just want to get it rid of it as fast as possible. But people are looking at me as like, what's this guy doing? Go on. Like, and then, but yeah, even like I got a massage just before, and it was the same masseuse I had before London last year, and she was like, I can tell such a difference in your attitude like coming into this marathon. Like last marathon, like I'm like, oh, can you like massage through my
on edge about things.
And like, but this time I'm like, no, I know what I'll get it on Sunday.
How long do you have to do the breathing thing for, roughly?
Like I reckon maybe like a minute or so I'm doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm doing it a few times.
Have you had to practice?
Yeah, like I do every now and then, like in my runs, I practice doing it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's funny because like I don't really, like I never do anything in training that's like 80 minutes of like race pace. So I don't really get it. So it's hard. You're doing it for no reason. But I think on Sunday as well, I want to do it like a bit earlier, just like not practice it, but like hopefully it prevents it.
Man, it's mad because obviously we think of all the challenges that come in a marathon with, you know, you fueling your stomach and trying not to shit yourself, pacing yourself and whatever, but no one ever thinks, well, I know I'm going to get a stitch.
I know, yeah. I know. And
crazy.
It's, like, it's still, like, I used to be so scared of it. Now I'm just like, all right, I'll just get it, deal with it, and then I'll just run that last 10k as hard as I can.
But, mate, just, you know, from the way you're talking, you sound confident about it.
Yeah.
You sound confident about overcoming a challenge, which I think is going to pay dividends on Sunday. Well, and your future marathons, hopefully, fingers crossed. You mentioned there that a bit about marathon pace and in training. I want to get an understanding of sort of a bit of an insight into your training and how that's changed from going from the 5 and 10k now up to the marathon under Bideau, with or without rain, etc. Give us an idea of what the changes are in training there, if any.
Yeah, so normal week for me before marathon is 3 sessions a week and a long run. So kind of like Tuesday track session, Thursday threshold, Saturday hills.
Yep.
Going into marathon, I do Tuesday track session. So I still train with like Stewie on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Which can be torture sometimes.
I can imagine.
Especially,
he's not bad, is he?
He's decent. Like if you're gonna get dropped by someone, it's Stewie. You're okay with that. And then I do a Friday session.
Like the American.
Yeah. So I do like a marathon session, and that's usually about 20k worth of marathon pace stuff.
Okay.
Some things we do a little bit longer, and that goes from kind of 4x5k.
Yeah.
Or I do like a 30k progressive, but the first 10k is pretty easy. Like probably 10k at 4 minute Ks, 10k at 3:15s, 10k at 3 minutes of just under. So it's like a good like hour and a half of solid effort. And then Sunday is my long run, probably 38 or so K.
And in terms of weekly volume, from what you've been used to, what's that look like from peak volume?
Yeah, around 200 Ks, yeah.
And what would it have previously been around the 5K, 10K
probably 160 to 170k.
I don't want to sound like it's not a big step up, because it is, but you've done so many years of 100 miles a week.
Yeah.
You're so prepped for marathon work.
It's even, exactly. And like now, I think now when I go back to the track, I'll probably still run a few too many K. Like I just naturally now I run like 175 in like a normal, like that's just like a normal week, like without trying to like do a marathon session or a long run. Mm-hmm. So it's, I think it's just doing years on years of doing 160k is just like been so good for my body.
And you said you're going to go back to the track. I know I don't want to sort of wish your life away, but what's the plan there?
Like I go back and do track training. I don't necessarily want to race. I actually can think of nothing worse than doing a 5k now. But I think I always, like I kind of said before, like I always want to go back to be able to run 13:20. So in between marathons, I kind of recover, and
Yeah.
then I just go back to doing 5K, 10K
Keep
training.
that tool sharp in your
Yeah,
armory.
yeah. So I can still run fast. Like, there was I was like doing some great sessions kind of early in the year. Like, I feel like I was in pretty good, like, shorter distance shape. And then, and then I just feel when it comes to a marathon, running 3 minute Ks just feels like so easy to me. So
I think people forget how important leg speed is.
Yeah.
Like, for the marathon, totally get that, man. I wish I could knock 3 minute Ks out. So obviously we're just off the back of the Boston Marathon where, you know, big fans, both of us, of Kipchoge, struggled out there, finished in 6th place, had a problem with his leg and also missed a drink. I want to understand, because you've struggled with your stitch. You've had, a small obstacle which has become something big for you. At your level, when the margin of error is so fine, how big are those small things like missing a drink or going through a rough patch or getting a stitch? How detrimental are they for your race performance?
Oh, definitely. Like, I usually run with a gel in my pocket just in case I do miss a gel because a drink, sorry, because they can be pretty chaotic. I reckon, like with Kipchoge missing that, it's probably one of the first marathons where he's, apart from the Olympics, where he's like in a pack.
Yeah.
Like going at the drink station, like just because of the way Boston's run, where a lot of the time he's just kind of flying through by himself or with the pacer, and you can just grab the drink. So, but when you're in the bigger packs, like in Fukuoka, like the Japanese runners are crazy, and like we're literally at 10K. There's probably 50 people in the pack, like 50 people on 207 pace, and they would have kept up to nearly 20K, and then it starts to dwindle down pretty quickly. But it means going through that, like, you know, you're going to probably miss drinks because it's just so chaotic, and you don't want to like get tripped up. So I think it definitely hurts when you do miss a drink, but there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to kind of get on with the race and try to just put it out of your mind and just you can get ready for the next one. But yeah.
And this is the last I'm going to talk about Sunday, because everyone knows it's a marathon. But you're here. You're the only Australian entrant on the male side. What shape are you in terms of how are you going to approach it? Are you going for a fastest time you've ever done, or are you looking for a position? Where's the head at with that?
Yeah, like I've kind of said like on my podcast, like I just want to finish as high as possible. Like I finished 8th last time. Like I'd like to finish higher, but I also can't control what other people do.
It's a good field this year, man.
It is a very good field. Yeah. So it's like, what am I going to do if I run a PB and finish 10th? Am I going to be disappointed? No. So the goal is to run a PB.
Yeah.
You do need everything to align for that to happen. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel like I'm in better shape than I've ever been. So the pace I'll go at is about 3 minute Ks. So yeah, 207. Oh, sorry, what is it? I think we got about 206 pace, 206.30 pace. So
just comfy. Yeah. Easy.
Well, it will be comfy for a bit, but it's going to get hard. Yeah.
And you've been in the sport so many years now. You've been at the top on the track. You've done the cross. You've done the roads. Controversial topic, which I don't feel it should be, but it is in the sport, is money. Okay, and we know that there's money in road running from appearance fees and contract bonuses. And you mentioned there that when you was younger, you was a professional athlete, but you weren't making any money. How has being so good at the marathon changed your life from a professional aspect?
Marathon definitely. Yeah, like I love doing the track, but there was just times when like I wasn't really making much money, and it was just like it was hard because like you're kind of chasing the dream, and like there's times when you're thinking, oh geez, like is it should I just like move on and like get a job, and like understandable when people do. I think especially like in Australia, it's like not always as many opportunities to make money. But yeah, like coming to the marathon, I've been lucky. Like London Marathon's given me good opportunities. Like I came in 2020 and DNF'd in like just when I had the stitch, and but they've like welcomed me back like last year and this year. So
we like the Aussies, mate.
Yeah, I know, it's good. So yeah, but yeah, getting, I don't know, doing marathons and making money. But like as well, you sacrifice months of your life for the marathon. So yeah, it's like it's really nice when you make money, but you can't rely on that because things can go bad on the day, and but I'm enjoying running well. When I run well and make some money, I love it. So.
Amen to that. Let's hope that continues. So away from competitive athletics, let's talk about everything but running for now. You're now stepping into a more of an entrepreneur world.
Yeah.
Right? And for anyone that's not aware, Brett has now started his... Well, what would you call for the Kudos? Would you call it a podcast or would you call it a media company?
We call it a media company.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you got a media company
Yeah.
called For the Kudos?
So the media company is Grattan House. And then under that is For the Kudos, which is the podcast.
Nice.
We have the Blue Line, which is our newsletter.
Right.
And then we are adding other little podcasts like that are more associated with For the Kudos.
I'm just taking notes.
Yeah.
And then Pulse?
Pulse,
what
Pulse
Running,
a coaching business, which myself, Jack Rayner and Collis Birmingham, we started that in 2020 during COVID. It was just funny, like me and Jack one day just said, we should start doing some coaching. And then a few months later, Collis messaged me, he's like, hey, would you be interested in doing some coaching? I was like, let's do it, the three of us. Which has been good. Like now have, I think, 10 or 11 coaches like coaching with us. It's growing bigger and bigger. So yeah, it's fun.
And if we just switch back over to sort of podcast world and the media company world, why do you think you've gone down that route?
So how it started was I was living with a guy named Joel Tobin White, who was on another podcast, and and they kicked him off. No, it just kind of ended, and then then
he was a free agent.
And I had been on his podcast before, and kind of just like me and him had just like had a fun time doing it. And we were living together, so it made it very easy. And then one day he kind of like came to our room. He's like, "We should do a podcast." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then the next day he's like, "Nah, I've been thinking about it. We should do a podcast." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." And then so we just like spoke to a few people to get a bit of advice, and they were like, "Just do it. Like you just have to take that leap and just record it, send it to a few people, and say, what do you think?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "All right, let's do it." And so we did that, and then just like straight away, just kind of like started gaining legs, and then brought on like Riley Wolf, who is like a photographer down in Melbourne, and he started helping us a bit with the direction, because we had like, I don't know, if we were still doing the direction of the thing, we'd just be like getting on there and talking about our training every week, and it'd just be people be bored of it by now. But it's
sounds like quite a few podcasts, I know.
yeah. But it's evolved heaps now, and just like having other parts of like FDK, like Q&A, like we get heaps of experts on now, like physios, and interview them, and it's not just as much about me and Joel. It's more about like, I don't know, giving runners content that will help them. I think. Okay. Yeah. Do
you think it helps runners not just from a knowledge perspective, but a feel-good factor as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hopefully it's something to listen to and enjoy on your easy runs as well. I think the FTK one is kind of a bit more humorous, and then you get into the experts, which I'm definitely not on, because and that's where you're going to get your knowledge, and you can get your advice on marathon drinks and your physio advice or whatever it is. So
take away from it what you need, and we'll plug all of Brett's businesses in the description for this. We've got enough room. Okay, so away from the roads, away from the track, and away from running, and even away from all of the media stuff and coaching, what are your passions? What do you enjoy doing, man?
I've got a little dog I love.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go on, talk us through that.
I'm going to talk about my girlfriend too. Got a girlfriend as well. I always get that. I've been asked this question before, and I'm supposed to say my girlfriend first, but I got to...
Edit.
I got a little French bulldog that I love, but I don't know. Like
he, her?
He.
And what's his name?
Nelson.
Yeah. Love that.
But I live like a great life. Like I have these businesses. I with my friends. I run with my friends. I like have free time, so I get to hang out with my friends all the time. So to be honest, I feel like I'm living the life, and I just get to enjoy every day, just doing kind of what I want to do and what people would love to be doing. So I feel very lucky in that.
I feel that model is the modern day professional athlete.
Yeah.
Where it used to be, I train hard, I race hard, and whatever I produce that's my identity.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're seeing a lot with YouTube channels and influencers and podcasts. I think athletes are so multidimensional, man. Like, you're a professional athlete, you're a businessman, you're a podcast host, you're a boyfriend, you're a dog owner. Like, there's more to you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do through these sorts of things, and to try and show the different sides to athletes, because they're more than just a vest and a bib.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do that as well. Like, I'm jealous of what you guys are able to do already, just like with the more video content, and like we want to be able to tell the athlete's story and what they do outside of running, because there's more like, everyone goes and does a few K reps, everyone does a long run. It's like, who cares? Like, everyone does it. It's just like, what do they do outside, like outside of running, and what else?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to finish this off, Brett, with how we finish off all of our interviews. We're going to do a quick fire round.
Yep.
Don't overthink the answers. Just give me the answer straight, man. So if you had a magic wand, what's one thing that you'd change in athletics?
Oh, I wish the crowds would just be like ridiculously bigger.
Stewie said the exact same thing.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Like,
why?
I'm gonna run with Mo Farah on Sunday, so I think I'll enjoy it because I know he's going to get a good cheer, and so I'll just pretend that's for me.
Yeah.
But when like London Marathon, when you run through was it like mile 25 and like kind of
the embankment.
Yeah. When there's like, it's ridiculous, and you love that. And there's like parts at New York Marathon, it's kind of the same. And then you like a track meet, like we had the Maury Plant track meet at the start of the year, and it was a huge crowd, like, and it's just like everyone enjoys it, has a great day. You get huge performances as well when that's around. So I would just love it to be more of that, and everyone gets to experience that.
Nice. Well, that's hopefully we can see more crowds in the future. Stewie spoke about like the IPL and the darts. I was playing golf the other night, and I was waiting for our bay to come open, and I was watching the IPL on the screen, and like, I don't follow cricket, but I was infused, man. Like, it's just they take something that is ultimately not that exciting and just sprinkle glitter all over it and make it, something more exciting. That's hopefully what we can do with athletics eventually. You've been a pro athlete how many years?
Probably like 12 years.
12 years. Yeah. So what's the best thing about being a pro?
Getting to travel all around the world.
Nice. And what's the worst thing about being a pro?
Spending so much time away from home.
Really?
So it's like a bit of kind of both. Nice. Like I always kind of like sometimes.
That's a wholesome answer, man.
Yeah. But like I think like I never. Sometimes I can complain. I'm like, I'm like overseas for so long. I'm like, look what I get to do. Like, I'm get to live like this good life overseas. Like heaps of people don't even get to go overseas. Like, and I'm doing this in another country. Like everyone's back in Melbourne in winter, and I'm in Europe. Like. Loving it. Like, not that I'm like on a holiday, but I'm like
like
free. Yeah.
I mean, look at where you are right now. You're sitting chatting to me, and it's pissing down.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've made it.
Yeah, but so it's a bit of like I love it, but there's also like the bad part of like 2019. I was away for 9 months, which is like a very long time. So
yeah, that's one thing I've always heard from Mo Farah's story with training out in Ethiopia, and that he's away from home for best part of the year. And barely sees his kids, but. You trade, innit? You got to put the time in, I guess. And what is a harsh truth that the running world needs to hear?
Yeah, this is a hard one. I reckon, like, it's like what I hate. I don't know if this is the same kind of thing, but what I hate about running, I wish it was just like the hardest person got the most results. Like, so the person who like trained the hardest.
Yep.
It's not always that. Like, it's, and I think I found that out the hard way. Like, I reckon I was like, I just need to train hard. And then it's like someone who's just training smart is the one who gets it. So it's not always, you have to be smart, I think, in training. So
find your process.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. You feel you found your process now?
Now I think I still get carried away. Like, I think it's so natural to be like, all right, I'm going well, I'll just push a little bit harder. But I think I'm a bit better now. I've gone, come on, let's just pull it back a little bit.
Okay, and last question, Brett, from today's episode, and I don't want this to be running related. What is one thing that you'd like to have achieved in your life in 10 years' time?
Hopefully Grattan House is a huge media agency.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that'd be good, yeah.
Okay, man, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being our first guest and this type of content, man, and best of luck for Sunday.
Thank you.
I'll catch you at mile 25 after the race for a beer or three.
Yes, definitely.
All right, mate, good luck. Catch you.
Thank you.
See you, mate.